Hey, what's going on, guys? Indy here with Ultimate Tour Reviews, checking out Harbor Freight today. To start out, guys, I wanted to show you one Ratchet I absolutely love. A couple other brands make this too. I have the Ulsa Tools version of this, but of course Harbor Freight has their own now. It's these swivel head ratchets. These things are super useful. The Pittsburgh one actually feels a really good quality. Looks to be identical to the Ulsa Tools one, which I think is around the same price. I think it's like around $20-25 on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description, guys. You want to check that one out too. But overall, this has been a pretty nice one. The Ulsa one does not have that cushion grip, but this one does. It's not like, like this is a way more soft cushion grip. This is a pretty hard plastic one. So I will say, love the swivel head ratchets. Those are awesome. Yeah, they finally have these back in stock here. That's awesome. For forever, they only had, I think, like gray or black. So I've been looking I was actually trying to buy a green one when they went on sale. They oftentimes go on sale for half off. So these go down to about 20 bucks a pop. I've got mine, used it quite a bit now. No issue with it so far. So really love these creepers here. And if you're lucky enough to find the other colors, cool. But of course, black and sometimes gray is always in stock. But again, if you spill oil on it, I spilled oil on mine a ton of times now. You won't notice the oil spill on there. So pros and cons there, but it's always cool to see other colors. They had a purple, would be sweet. I would love to buy purple. That'd be awesome to find. Always love checking out the clearance section here. Clearance, open box, whatever you want to call it. Let's see here. So look at this, $7 off, 35%, just because they're missing the diagonal cutters out of there. That's actually not a terrible deal for what you get in here for that full set. Ooh, there's actually an Icon screwdriver set, missing one. Wait, what? $40? They have 20%. Actually, that's about right. 20% there, $40 there. So that's kind of cool. Icon screwdriver set. What else do we have here? Actually, some good stuff today. Usually I walk back, I'm always like, yeah, I got that and that and that, and nothing great today. So there's a couple of cool things here, which is awesome to see. We have Hercules here. What is this? $77 for the extended anvil. Oh, of course, it's pretty well used here. I will say that. I don't know why this was... Actually, why would this be allowed to be returned? That might not work for $78 there. So I don't know about that one. That's pretty, if it was just like, almost brand new in the box, I'd say go for it, but not for that price. A couple of things up here are looking pretty cheap. Quinn, $23 we're missing. I don't know if we're missing, but that's also SAE, so not a lot of use for that. Swivel sockets up here as well too, so yeah, missing a couple out of these, of course, just warranty. Pulls for those, but yeah, not bad for some of the plier sets. The Icon screwdriver set, you're missing one out of there, not a big deal, but that's still not a bad deal. Kind of tempting to buy that right now for what that is. I always love checking out all of the cordless tools here. There hasn't been a ton of changes here recently, like the tried and true warrior stuff here. You just need something cheap, there you go. Hercules, I know they've been kind of coming out with a few things here really slow. I don't know if Bauer had a right angle impact wrench now. That's pretty cool. Not a bad size either. It is pretty long, but it's not super thick or anything, so that's pretty nice to see there. Let's see, impacts here, nothing too crazy. And then they have the corded ones, which these things are, for the size, they're not a ton of power. I mean, look at this, only 300 foot-pounds of fastening torque, but it is only $70, so that's not a bad deal there. Let's see what we got over here, new. I will say that miter saw gets a lot of good reviews, and for $300, it does go on sale here and there. So I would say wait for a sale on that unless you really need it right now, but it is actually a pretty sweet deal. So ironically though, the more expensive one is going to be your 12-inch, and that of course is going to be a plug-in, but then you have your 20-volt, that's of course battery operated here. It's only $300, and that was Makita, Milwaukee, DeWalt for the plugins. You'd be looking at 2-3 times that price. So that's actually a pretty sweet deal. Remember, it is a 10-inch miter saw, so not as capable as a 12-inch miter saw, so beware of that. This is actually a pretty sweet deal. Instant savings right now, down from $30 to $22. These are pretty solid screwdriver sets. A lot of different brands kind of repackage and remake these quite a bit. But you get kind of a nice organizer, good amount of screwdriver sets here. For $20, you get the small screwdrivers, some of the nut drivers, a couple of hex keys. Pretty solid deal here. And then of course we've got a couple of other sets here, 10mm essential socket sets. You're going to lose them anyways, so buy a big pack of them. $8 for some wrenches here. These all, no, they got SAE or metric here as well too, so that's pretty sweet. $8 for some wrench sets. That's pretty sweet. And of course, some Apache cases as well too, down there for 35 bucks. Not a bad deal for kind of everything here. Then $229 for a 6-piece detail brush set. That's actually a pretty solid deal. Yeah, I mean, it's only like 80 cents off or so, but not a bad deal there at all. I know they've been massively expanding a lot of their power options here. So you got some of these larger Viking jump starters plus air compressors here. That thing is kind of huge. I know there's some other options that are way smaller than that, of course. But of course you got booster cables. They've got a ton of their battery charger stuff here. They're doing a big thing of these, but I haven't really seen them advertise a lot of this stuff. So I'm kind of curious if they're going to do a big push that for at least maybe a few larger models. But I'm not too sure what they're doing here exactly on that. So you'd be kind of curious to see what their plan is going to be kind of going forward on that and what they want to do. Of course, you know, I've talked about a lot of the tools here. The Matic stuff is all super useful, but I will say cross-shop a lot of this stuff on Amazon. Some of the stuff might be quite a bit cheaper. You just don't know until you check it out. And I guess we'll see. You know, stuff goes up and down in price all the time. It's worth checking out. I will say, guys, one thing, don't buy this stuff at Harbor Freight is all of these auto chemicals here. They're usually more expensive than if you went to even an auto parts store. My suggestion would be to go to Walmart and pick this stuff up. This stuff is crazy overpriced here. Like this Lucas Oil stuff here, the oil stabilizer, the heavy duty stuff. I mean, Walmart has their own version, I think, for like $9, $10, $11, somewhere in that range. And then I think the regular stuff, the Lucas stuff, I think is like $12, $13 there. So a lot of stuff is pretty overpriced here. I mean, if you need it, you need it. But they do know that, and of course they're going to get a little more money out of you for buying it, of course, from Harbor Freight. They usually don't really, you know, have this stuff here. My suggestion would be just go to Walmart and pick this stuff up. Sometimes even auto parts stores will have this stuff cheaper, but I mean, it is quite pricey here. I'm looking at the Seafoam, $14 here. Walmart has their own version for I think like $5, and it's the exact same thing. Works just as fine too. So I would definitely avoid getting into the chemicals here. All right, let's talk gloves here. I've used some of the Hardy gloves in the past. They've held up absolutely amazing. I'm talking about these, the cheap ones. No idea how they make these things, but these hold up actually really well. I went and transferred over to all of the Milwaukee cut level gloves for what I do for work. Those hold up really well. I'm not a fan of like these, and these are kind of just, you know, gimmicky gloves. You know, they're charging you more because they got the pads on the back, but that stuff doesn't wear out. You don't wear out the back of gloves, you wear out the inside of gloves. That usually wears out first. And $15, you know, that's pretty expensive for gloves, you know, where you're gonna be kind of burning through them. I'd say get 3 pair of those. They're gonna last you way longer than 1 pair of those. That's what I would do. They do have some of the like goat skin gloves too, I think, here now, which I do know those hold up pretty well. I'm trying to find those here, unless they're sold out. I know they had a coupon right now for some of those here, so I don't see those. So they're down here. No, this is the ultra durable stuff here. So they last 10 times as long. I'm gonna doubt that. I don't think we're gonna see 10 times the life out of those gloves there. I make this joke every time I make a video on Harbor Freight, but they still have this here. This is the older style Icon metric set here. Still $89. Still have not dropped the price on that at all. I don't know why it's still here, but it still is in the exact same spot, and there is still 2 of them here. No idea why. Of course, one of the biggest changes we keep seeing is they keep releasing new Icon pliers and slip joint pliers, cutters, all the stuff here. They keep releasing more Icon stuff. You can't really go wrong with a lot of the brands here. I kind of look at Quinn and Doyle. That's kind of what I buy the majority of. I kind of lean towards Quinn because it's an awesome value. Yeah, I've had a few of these things break, but of course it's all lifetime warranty. No issues getting the warranty taken care of. So I've kind of gone Quinn for a lot of stuff. It's way step up in quality from the Pittsburgh stuff. Now, the Doyle stuff, of course, is a step up even above that. And I've got a couple of these. Do I think they're worth the price increase over the Quinns? Not really. I would rather get the Quinns, pick up 2 of the Quinns for cheaper than 1 of the Doyles, and call it a day there. Now, the Icon's even more expensive from there, but of course they're aiming for that, you know, tool truck level quality. I mean, if you really need a super high-end level quality tool, there you go. That's where you want to be at. Is it worth it? Well, it's kind of up to you how much you want to spend, really. In my opinion, though, if it's a tool I'm going to be using a lot and I break it a lot, say like diagonal cutters, yeah, I'll probably upgrade into a nicer pair of diagonal cutters. And what I did instead was I ended up just buying 2 of the Quinns. I keep 2 of those Quinns with me now, and it's still, you know, less than half the price of 1 Icon. So up to you what you want to do. For me, space isn't necessarily a big, huge thing when I'm on a job. If I really have a critical tool, I'm just going to have 2 of them. So I'm not going to spend twice the money. I'd rather keep half the money and have 2 of the tools. That's kind of my 2 cents there. This is one tool that if you've never dealt with a snap ring, I did the GMC thermostat delete out of my transmission, and you do need a snap ring pliers to do that. And I will say, until you've used snap rings, you don't know how valuable these pliers are. So for $60, not a bad deal right now. But yeah, they definitely are super handy if you need them. If you don't ever work with snap rings, then of course they're going to be kind of useless to you. But if you've ever tried snap ring stuff, you definitely need that. That's actually a pretty solid deal right now for $60. Alright guys, that's all I've got for you today. Checking out Harbor Freight, seeing what's new. I'm not going to say like there's any better open box or clearance stuff because it's kind of store specific. So always worth checking out once in a while whenever you're there. But always some cool new stuff here at Harbor Freight worth checking out. So guys, thanks for watching. Take care, and don't forget to check out the instant savings right now. There's a couple of those cool ones right now happening at Harbor Freight. But I would say that's kind of the one cool thing to check out. Guys, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a great day.